I'm Rob from Barefoot Gaming, and today we review Project Wingman in virtual reality. Let's do this, shall we? Project Wingman is, to put it super simply, an arcade-style combat flight sim. It's available for both VR and non-VR, but being a VR channel, it's the VR I'm discussing. Now, online, I was constantly seeing it compared to Ace Combat, so I went in apprehensive, but hopeful. This has been put out by an indie studio, so you have to keep that in mind, of course, and I noticed a lack of multiplayer right off the bat. With 2 game modes to choose from and a slew of difficulty settings which can be adjusted, I strapped into my cockpit with my newly found love, the Gladiator NXT, and was prepared for flight. Of course, my joystick didn't work, which surprised me, as it does offer full HOTAS support listed on the Steam page, to which after doing a quick Google search just meant I had to manually input all of the buttons, all of the movement, everything on the stick itself. I would not be deterred back to the plane select screen, which I should mention, not only can you purchase different planes as you earn money, so there's 20 different aircraft, but you can load them out with different armaments to your choosing. And there are 40 different weapons that you can adjust. All with unique handling and loadouts. I was sent to a briefing screen where I learned about a fictional future where I and a band of my mercenary friends were destined to make the world a better place. Flying along en route to make the first of the baddies go boom, there was voice chatter back and forth until dun dun dun! The enemies lay dead ahead. Gunships, planes, anti-aircraft, and other various targets all waiting for my missiles. I should also expand on the conquest mode part of the game, where you decide which territory your squad will try and capture. So you'll face bosses, you'll face ace squadrons, and they're all lining up to take you down. You need to build your own mercenary army as you go up against more and more challenging missions. So that's the game, and of course all the missions have a totally different feel, but I think it's safe to get to the actual review portion, shall we? Project Wingman is $25 US, 29 Canadian, and just over 19 pounds for our UK friends. It is seated only, which room scale VR flight game would be bananas. It supports keyboard and mouse, game pads, joysticks, HOTAS, but you've got to remember that there are no motion controls in this game, so you need another input aside from your motion controls. Now, what did I think? I think it has a lot of good going for it. A lot of good. I don't know why there's such a lack of arcade-style, non-realistic combat flight games in VR, but flying around, looking at my targets out of the window, while banking to try and get a lock on was a blast. Keeping low to avoid anti-aircraft and making sharp turns to stop a missile that is locked onto you is also a really good time. I love that you can adjust the difficulty between missions if you find the last one was too hard or if it was too easy, and the graphics look pretty good in my books. In fact, flying through clouds near a mountain range had rain streaking up my windshield, making it hard to see, and playing cat and mouse with another plane trying not to crash into the obscured mountains was a lot more fun than I've had in a while. I really like that Wingman gives me the choice of where I want to attack. So instead of just feeling like a pilot, I feel like I've got some input on how to actually win. It's a really good addition to a game like this, and I'd like to see more of it in other games. However, I was taking hits on performance, like substantial hits, as in frames were definitely being dropped. Now, of course you can turn down the graphics settings, but that was just my default setting, and I didn't have any super sampling on. I was also pretty annoyed at the combat zone size, and let me explain what I'm talking about there. Now, in one of my missions, we were heading to the destination where we were about to take out some enemy planes. I was flying in formation with my wingman, and the enemy had not shown up yet. So I still didn't have any indication where they were going to be. Boom, enemies show up, and I turn to engage, at which point I am told that I am leaving the combat zone. I quickly checked to see where the other pilots are, in case I was too far out, or maybe it was a small area I had to stay in, but everyone was pretty close, and the enemies and friends alike, so I got into dogfighting and was shooting down enemies, and avoiding getting hit, having, as I mentioned, a great time when I exploded. Because apparently I was in the out of bounds area for too long. Glitch maybe, but it did happen another time. And although I was frustrated, it did not stop me from playing again. Although I did leave the game for a bit, as I mentioned, it was frustrating. Project Wingman is a fun game with a few wrinkles to be worked out, but I do want to emphasize the fun part. It's not realistic. It's going for an arcade-style flight game, and it does that very, very well. The AI was smart enough that I felt challenged, and it gave the world a feel of being alive. And I'm looking forward to getting back in, buying more ships, hiring more people, more good times ahead. That's another review done with, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe and turn that little bell icon on so you know when a new video comes out. Thank you so much for watching another review, and I will talk to you again really, really soon. See ya.